So lovely to see you on this Wednesday. So just making sure you've got a strap or a band and just popping it down on your right hand side. So we'll be using it for your right leg first of all. So just have it on your right hand side. And as you come to lie yourself down, if you want to give your knees a squeeze or have a good old stretch out, do whatever you need to do to get rid of the day before we start our practice. So whatever movement you need to do. I'll stay seated just for a little while longer, just in case anyone joins us a bit later. Lovely. And then when you've made whatever movements you need to release any tension around your back or hips, or if you just want to open up into a stretch, just take your time to make your way to effortless rest. So your feet on the floor, a little wider than your hips, and then that way you can bring your knees to knock together. And you might want to just lift your head up and just place it back down so the very middle of your back of your head is resting on the floor, and maybe just draw your shoulder blades a little bit towards one another and down away from your ears. So you've got a nice open chest, long neck. Hands can be resting alongside you or on the lower belly. Oh, and let's take a moment to get ourselves comfortable, closing the eyes. And I just want to offer you some words which maybe you'll need to call upon in the coming week or weeks. And they're from Downton Abbey, and they really seemed relevant as I was watching an old episode the other day. And the episode was one at the end of the war, and it was the first Armistice Day after the First World War, and the servants and the household had gone to a memorial service. And on their way back, Mrs. Hughes and Carson were walking back together, and she was feeling a bit down and a bit doubtful about what the future held, what lay in store. And Carson turned to her and said, "Whatever happens, we must always travel forwards with hope." We must always travel forwards with hope. And I liked that. I thought that was a nice thing to hold on to over these coming kind of difficult weeks ahead of us. We must always travel forward with hope. So let's just begin our practice by taking a moment to observe the flow of your natural breath in and out of your body. And if you've had a particularly busy, frantic day, maybe a lot of time staring in front of computer screens, just make sure that your eyes are softly closed and your face is relaxed. You might be holding a bit of tension around your jaw and around your face if you've been staring intently at a screen. And just notice for a moment where your breath is moving in and out of your body, where it's receiving and releasing the breath. So as you settle your breath, we allow our body to grow quiet and our minds to gently just putting aside the day, whatever's happened, just putting that to one side for the next hour. And just bring your awareness now to the weight of your body on the floor. And it's the back of your head centrally placed on your mat, so your neck is nice and long. You're feeling those natural curves and undulations of your spine right up into your neck. It's the weight even between the left and the right shoulder blades, the left and the right side of your pelvis, around your lower back, and between your feet, your left and your right foot. So the whole body now feels balanced and centered, supported by the floor. Welcome in if you've just joined us. We're just starting lying down with your feet on the floor. Lovely. And so with your bands just to one side, let's just explore opening up some space in the body by slowly extending the legs straight out in front of you, about hip width apart or closer together. And reaching the arms back above the head, so we're coming to a lovely full body stretch, palms up towards the ceiling. And just begin to reach back through the fingertips as you softly point the toes, getting a nice sense of space and length through the sides of the body. Take a nice deep breath in there. As you exhale, we just soften the stretch. So you keep the arms and legs where they are, but you just feel yourself soften into that space. So a couple more times, inhale, reaching the arms back, pointing through the toes. And then every time you exhale, you just allow the body to soften a little bit. Do that once more. So a nice reach forwards and back as you inhale. And then exhale, slowly soften. Just the right side this time. So you reach forwards through the right foot and back through the right fingertips. Just get a nice sense of space and stretch down the right side of your body. And then change sides. So you reach back through the left side. And just alternate between the two, maybe working with the breath, inhaling to lengthen one side of the waist and then exhaling the other. So it's like you're having a little walk on the mat, reaching up, stretching forwards. You might feel that your kind of bottom moves a little bit on your mat there. And then come all the way back to that full body stretch. Take a nice inhale. And as you exhale, let's scoop the knees in towards your chest, one hand on each knee. And we'll start a very gentle massage as you rock the knees gently from side to side again, just catching the rhythm of your breath, inhaling one way, exhaling to the other side. You can add that little head turn. So your head turns in the opposite direction to your knees. And you might keep your hands on your knees, or you might clasp your wrists, or even towards your forearms, bringing your knees in towards your chest a little closer. So that's not going to be for everyone. That's a deeper rounding through your lower back. So whatever feels comfortable. Just continue to take a little rock from side to side. Gently massaging away any tension before you slow down that movement, coming to stillness. And release your feet to the floor. We'll come to hip width apart, knees pointing up towards the ceiling. Now arms relaxed alongside you. So we're going to come into a gentle bridge flow. So as you inhale and push the hips up towards the ceiling, maybe just come up a little way for the first couple. And then as you exhale, slowly release the spine down. So maybe coming up a little higher each time until you reach that point just between your shoulder blades. So squeeze at the bottom, making sure the knees don't roll in or out. So rooting through the base of the big toes, you push the hips up on an inhale, making sure your fingertips aren't making holes on your mat. If you want to add the arms for the next few, so reaching the arms all the way back above the head as you inhale, as the hips come high, and then you lower your hands and your hips, seeing if you can bring them down to the floor at the same time. So we'll do a couple more like that, rooting through the base of the big toe, hips push high, arms lengthen back if you wish. Just make sure that you're not coming up so high that you're on your neck. So you're only coming up to between the shoulder blades, so that very delicate area of your neck is kept safe. And the next time that you bring your hips and your hands down, we'll pause. And once more, bring knees to chest, one hand on each knee. So this time we'll circle the knees out nice and wide, getting some movement into the hips. So it's like you're doing a nice easy breaststroke, bending the elbows as you bring the knees in and then straightening the arms. So again, you can keep your hands resting on your knees. That offers a bit more support and guidance, or bring the knees to the chest and bring your hands down alongside you. So you take the knees wide, big toes point together, and then extend the legs out straight in a nice wide V shape, inner thigh stretch, heels push away. Legs come together, soles of feet point towards the ceiling, and then drop your heels to your bottom. And then we repeat, knees wide, straighten the legs, push the heels away, and then the legs come all the way up to the ceiling. And the next time the heels come to the bottom, so let's pause and change direction. So whatever you're doing with the legs, we change direction. So I'm stretching up, then out, and then heels together, and then back to center. So we'll do that twice more. So we're just bringing that awareness, lovely, to your inner thighs, getting some movement into the hips. Last time. So you might have your hands on your knees. You might be doing that kind of slightly more expansive version with me. Knees come to the chest, and then we'll bring the feet down to the floor. Again, ready for a little bridge flow with a difference this time. So knowing that you can keep just on that basic level we did before. Or this time, we'll push the hips up. You can lengthen the arms all the way back. And maybe bring your right knee to your chest and then straighten the leg and take the sole of the foot up towards the ceiling. And then as you bring the foot to the floor, you bring the arms down and lower the hips. And then other side, we push the hips up, arms go back, left knee to chest. Extend the leg up towards the ceiling, flexing the foot. And then we bend the knee, foot to floor, and then lower the hips. So you can carry on with that. So inhaling, right knee to chest as you push the hips up. You don't have to add the arms. You can keep both feet on the floor. If you're adding that leg extension, just make sure that that supporting leg, the foot that's on the floor, you're really grounding down, so you're building up some strength in that supporting leg. I'm going to do one more with the right leg, extending up. And then lowering down on the exhale, and then one more with the left leg. So remember that you don't have to add that extension. Beautiful, come all the way down. Lovely. And then let's just bring the right knee into the chest. Right knee into the chest there. Lovely. Give that knee a little squeeze. Beautiful. And then picking up your band, we'll bring the band around the ball of that right foot. So you might need to lift your head up. And then as you lower your head down, slide your hands through the band so your elbows can rest on the floor there. Lovely. And then slowly we'll take the leg up towards the ceiling. You might have a little bend in your knee. And then bringing the band into your right hand. You can rest your left arm on the floor or bring the hand to the hip. Just start very gently to take that leg from side to side, really small movements. Taking it out to the right and then the left, so really gentle movements. Lovely. And then let's see if we can make that a little bit bigger. So keeping the band in your right hand, let's take the leg out to the right, pushing the heel away. And you might roll to the outside edge of that left foot, feeling an inner thigh stretch. And then bring that right leg all the way back to center. Change hands with the band and bring that right leg across the body. That right buttock might lift a little bit, getting an outer thigh stretch. So inhaling, taking the leg out to the right, band in the right hand. And as you exhale, leg comes across the body and in the left hand. So we're trying to keep the leg straight and that left knee as still as you can. Let's do one more each way. Out to the side and then across the body. And when you come back to the center, that next time, just bring the band into your right hand, left hand rests on your hip. And we'll start to draw small circles with that right leg, as though you're drawing a circle on the ceiling with the foot. Just using the band to guide you round and gradually begin to make that circle a little bigger if that's comfortable. So you're making the circumference of that circle as big as feels comfortable. And when you've reached that maximum circle size for you, pause. And then reverse your direction, and this time we make the circles smaller, so it's an inward spiral. Until finally you come back to that point from where you started in the stillness. Lovely. Then keeping the band in the right hand. As you inhale, draw that right leg a little closer in towards you. And as you exhale, just release it back up towards the ceiling. So as you inhale, we draw that leg down a little closer. Just as we did at the beginning, as you exhale, you just release that stretch. A few more times, seeing how that feels on the hamstrings. Lovely. Any pulling at the back of the knee or the middle of your bottom, just back off a little bit. Lovely. And then just coming to stillness, put a little flex in the foot now, pushing the heel up towards the ceiling. And slowly, slowly lower that right leg down towards the floor, letting the band slide through your hand until the heel just hovers off the floor. Really pushing against the band, toes drawn up towards you, heel hovers. And then slowly take that right leg out to the right. So we keep it quite low to the floor. Doesn't matter how far out to the right it comes. Left knee stays up towards the ceiling. And then bring that leg once more directly in front of you. Heel hovers. And then all the way back up towards the ceiling. You can hold onto the band with both hands now. Maybe walking your hands up towards the foot. Maybe lifting your upper body so nose towards your knee. And maybe straightening left leg this time until the heel hovers off the floor. So if that's not for you today, keep the foot on the floor. Lovely. Just waking up through those core muscles. And then slowly let's rebend the left knee, foot to floor, lower the head. Bring the right knee to your chest. And just bring the foot down. Lovely. Let everything settle for a minute. Then we'll try all of that on the left leg. So hug your left knee into your chest this time. That's it. And then we bring the band around the ball of the foot. Try and avoid the arch of the foot. Then release your elbows down towards the floor. Slide in your hands through the band and then take the band up to, foot up towards the ceiling. Just make sure that you've not wrapped your hands around the band because we tend to then increase tension into our arms, our shoulders, our neck and our face then. So just holding the band nice and firmly, but a little bit of looseness in the fingers there. And then band in the left hand, right hand to your hip or just alongside you. And we'll start that little sway from side to side. So it's quite a small movement to start with. Seeing how that feels. Lovely. Trying to keep your other knee up towards the ceiling there. That's it. And then bringing the band into your left hand, let's see if we can make that a little bigger. So taking your left leg out to the left, into that inner thigh stretch, and maybe you roll to the outside edge of that right foot. Lovely. And then bring everything back to center, changing hands as you bring the left leg across the body, again, pushing the heel away from you. Left buttock might lift, but the right knee stays pointing towards the ceiling. So inhaling that inner thigh stretch, legs widen, maybe rolling to the outside of the foot. And then on your next breath, you come over the body. So inhaling, inner thighs get that nice stretch. And exhaling, outer thigh and outer hip. Lovely. That once more. So again, it might be quite a small move. Might be a little bit more expansive. One side might feel different. And then we'll come all the way back to center. Band in your left hand, right hand again on your hip for stability or just on the floor. And we'll start to draw those circles now. Doesn't matter which direction you're moving in. And we start small and get gradually bigger. Yeah, so just by holding the band gives us a little bit more control and support for the leg. And again, when you've come to that point where you've made that circle as big as feels comfortable for your hip, you pause and then come back the opposite way, this time moving in ever decreasing circles. And so you're doing that little inward spiral until you come back to stillness. Lovely. And then we'll open up that space in the back of the leg. So as you inhale, we draw that left leg a little closer towards you. And then as you exhale, you just release the stretch. So inhaling, the leg draws towards you, trying to keep your hips down on the floor so you're not lifting your bottom up. That's your anchor point to stretch out through the hamstring. Let's do one more. So it might be a small move again. And then let's come back to center and letting the band slide through your hands. You flex the foot and lower the left leg until the heel just hovers off the floor. So you're just pushing the ball of the foot against the band there. So you're feeling an openness in the back of the leg. And then keeping the heel hovering, you just take the leg out to the left as far as feels comfortable, keeping that right knee pointing up towards the ceiling. And then extend that leg directly out in front of you. And then all the way back up towards the ceiling. And you might walk your hands a little higher up your band now. Maybe lifting your head and your upper body, nose towards knee, and maybe straightening right leg heel just hovers off the floor. So just tuck your elbows in if you're lifting up there, so you're not flailing them out to the side. Lovely. And then rebending the left knee, foot to floor, lowering your head down. Keep the left leg where it is. And now bring both feet into the band. It's a little bit of Cirque du Soleil now, so both feet in the band. You're going to bend your knees and keeping your heels towards one another, just bring your heels down towards your bottom, knees wide. So your hands and the strap are on the inside of the legs. So you're getting a little inner thigh stretch. Just allow your knees to widen, maybe the soles of the feet are towards one another. You can stay there just enjoying that inner thigh stretch, or a little bit of playfulness. Could you start to roll up to a seated position using the band to help you, and then you roll all the way back down. So it's quite playful. You can have a few of those. Yeah, look at you all go there. Let's do one more. And this time we'll roll all our way up to seated. You can keep your hands on the band there. Let's bring the soles of the feet together, the heels in towards you, as close as again feels comfortable. Elbows perhaps resting on your knees. You can also always let go of the band and hold on to your shins or your ankles. Take a nice inhale, lift up tall. And as you exhale, allow the body to fold forwards, leading with your chin and your chest. Your elbows might be gently pressing the knees out wide into that cobbler's pose. You can stay here holding onto your band or holding onto your ankles. Or if you want a little bit more, you can reach both arms out in front of you, fingertips to floor. You might walk them a little further away from you, dropping the chin very slightly down towards your chest now. Getting that nice length through both sides of the waist. Inner thighs, gently opening. That's it. And then slowly, slowly, coming all the way up. Just popping your band to one side and giving the legs a little stretch out in front of you. Beautiful. So I'll sit sideways onto you now, so you can just have a little look at my back. So we're going to take the legs out nice and wide. And if you find that you're kind of rounding the back there, you can do one of a couple of things. You can either pop a blanket or a cushion underneath your hips that helps elevate the spine and drop your pelvis forwards, or hands down alongside you. You push into your hands, lift your bottom, shift your hips back, and then lower your hips, and you've tilted your pelvis forwards, and so that helps lengthen out through the low back. Lovely. Push the heels away from you, hands rest on the legs, knees or thighs. Take a nice inhale. And as you exhale, we'll fold forward, sliding the hands down towards your ankles. Again, just leading with your chin and your chest. And then as you inhale, we sit up nice and tall, hands slide back up. So exhale, hands slide down. Doesn't matter how far they go. Lengthen the body forwards. And then all the way up. We'll do a couple more of those. So you're getting that nice inner thigh stretch. You're pushing the heels quite actively away from you. Toes up towards the ceiling rather than rolling in or out. Let's do one more of those. Beautiful. And then sitting up nice and tall. Let's bend the knees. You might hold onto your knees so you can bring your feet down to the floor. Knees point up towards the ceiling. Just cup your knees with your hands. Take a nice inhale, a little arch of the back, maybe lift the chin. And as you exhale, let's round the back, so the arms straighten, hugging navel to spine. Get that nice spreading between the shoulder blades. So once more, inhale, bringing the hips back into alignment as well. Inhale. And then exhale, hollow out through the belly as you lean back. Lovely. And then sitting up nice and tall. And then once more, we'll widen the legs. So again, you can make those little adjustments, picking up the hips. Beautiful. So you're sitting up nice and tall, heels push away from you. And this time we'll bring the arms out in front of you, just interlace the hands. Beautiful. So imagine you're stirring a pot. So take the arms over towards one leg. It really doesn't matter. You lean all the way forwards, extending the arms forwards, all the way over to the other leg. And then navel to spine as you lean back a little way. So you're drawing a big circle with the arms, trying to keep the arms straight. So as you lean back, you've got to use the core muscles a little bit. Lovely. Trying to keep the arms roughly level with the shoulders. Pause as you come to center and then change direction. A few stirs the other way. Keep those heels stretching away from you. So it's nice, stretch out through the hips, and it's a nice opening through the back and an awakening through your core as well. Let's do one more. Beautiful. And then once more, just hooking underneath your knees so you can bring your legs, this time straight out in front of you, giving them a little shake. So you can have your fingertips down alongside your hips now to give you a little bit of support. And just take your feet about hip width apart in front of you. Toes point up towards the ceiling. And then turn the toes of that right foot out to the right. So you've got, feel that movement right in the top of the hip. And then slide that right leg out to the right. Toes lead the way. And then turn the toes in and bring that leg all the way back to center, leading with the toes. So as you inhale, toes turn out, leg slides out to the right. And then as you exhale, toes turn in. So you keep the heel on the floor, or just pick up that right leg until it just hovers off the floor. It's quite hard, hey? Sitting up nice and tall. Ooh, let's do one more. Trying to keep that left foot pointing up towards the ceiling. Come all the way back through center and give the legs a little shake. Oh, I can feel that one. So other side. So this time it's your left foot. So right toe stay pointing up towards the ceiling. Turn the toes out to the left and really feel that movement right from the top of the hip. And then you slide the leg out to the left and then roll the toes in and feel that movement again coming from the top of the thigh. So inhale out to the left, exhale back to center. Again, you can lift the foot until the heel just hovers. And you've got to use a little bit of core and back strength so you're not leaning back. They're heavy levers, so let's do just one more of those. Oh, who knew legs could be so heavy? Bring the feet to the floor, give the legs a little shake, and then let's tuck the toes behind you and come round onto all fours. Hands under your shoulders, knees underneath your hips. Let's spread the hands nice and wide. Just make sure you've got a nice long tabletop position through your spine. You might want to take the hands a little wider apart if your shoulders feel tight today. So as you drop your belly, really tilt the tailbone up. Lovely, bringing that lovely movement through the pelvis. Push the hands down. Just lift the chin just so it's level with the floor. Take an inhale. And as you exhale, push the hands down, round the back, tucking the tailbone under, spreading between the shoulder blades. Just close the eyes for a moment as you ripple between those two movements. Inhaling, head and heart lift. Exhaling, tailbone tucks. Seeing if you can bring that movement right into the lower back as well. It's not just between the shoulder blades that you're feeling it. So get that little tuck of your tailbone under as you exhale. Rippling that movement through the spine. Lovely. Let's do one more of those. Nice. Oh, that feels nice just to stretch it all out. And then coming back to that nice tabletop position, a nice flat back. Let's extend the right leg back behind you, ball of foot to floor. Just make sure that your hip hasn't lifted. Push the heel away from you, just push into the hands. Sometimes tempted to drop the gaze there, so keep the gaze forward so the spine stays nice and long. You might add a little rock back and forth, but keep the movement slow. You're not kind of pumping out through the foot there. So we've got the option to stay there, or if you want a little bit more, bring the knee back in line with the hip. And then slide your left knee forwards and slide the right leg back until you're sitting on your left heel. I'm going to lift that back knee off the floor and drop that right hip down. So it's a form of pigeon pose. If that's not for you, do the version we did before. Back on all fours, right leg extended back behind you. You might want to come up onto your fingertips, and so you're lifting your chest. So I'm trying to keep my hips square as I sit on that left heel. Lovely. And then dropping the back knee, just walking the hands forward, finding your way back on all fours, hands under shoulders, knees under hips. So this time, left leg slides back. Again, making sure that you've not lifted the hip, pushing the heel away, pushing into your hands, gaze forwards. And again, you can add that little rock back and forth, if that works for you. And you might just want to stay there, or bringing both knees back down under the hips. This time you slide right knee forwards and left leg back. So you can keep the knee lifted as you sit down on that right heel, or you can lower the back knee. I'm going to walk my hands back towards me, so my chest is lifted. I'm getting a nice sense of stretch through that left hip. Again, if that's not for you, come back to where we were before. You don't want to squash any knees that don't like being squashed. Lovely. And then we'll drop the knee and make your way back onto all fours. This time widening knees, big toes point towards one another. Sit back into that nice wide leg child pose, reaching the arms forwards. And you might just want to have a little rock from side to side there, nestling your hips back towards your heels, little seat you've made to support yourself. Lovely. Just take a couple of breaths there, getting that nice sense of stretch across the hips and the side of the waist. Lovely. And then walking the hands back towards you, lifting the chest, pointing both knees forwards. So you can come up into standing kneeling. So lifting the hips, shoulders in line with the hips. Let's reach the arms all the way up towards the ceiling, lengthen the waist. Take an inhale. And as you exhale, right arm reaches down, left arm overhead. So you're getting a nice stretch through the side of that left hip. Inhale back through center. Then we change sides. So a little push of the hips over to the right as you reach down with the left. Let's do one more each way, just making sure that your shoulders stay roughly above your hips. So you might need to just gently push your hips forwards or squeeze the bottom all the way up. And then all the way over to the left. Coming back through center, and you can bring your hands to your hips as you step your right foot forward. So help it out if it doesn't get there. Beautiful. Both hands just rest above your right knee, and then keeping that right heel on the floor, begin to shift the weight forward. So we're dropping that left hip, getting a nice stretch through the front of the hip. And then we begin to straighten the front leg, take the hips back. You might keep the hands where they are. You might bring your fingertips to the floor and begin to lift the toes towards your face. Lovely. So as you inhale, we plant the foot. Heel stays on the floor as you drop forwards. And as you exhale, we find that hamstring stretch wherever works for you. Lovely, chest nice and lifted, inhale. And this time as you exhale, if you wish, you can sit all the way back onto that left heel, coming into a pistol stretch if that works for the knee. Inhaling, you rock forwards. And exhaling, remember you can keep the hands above the knee, you can bring fingertips to floor or sit all the way down. Lovely, last time, inhaling, rocking forwards. And we'll pause in that hamstring stretch. So we might be here, you might be here, you might be sitting down on that heel. So wherever you are, take a nice inhale. And as you exhale, can you extend the chest forwards over that right leg, whatever the leg is doing. Let's take a couple of breaths there. Remember, just be really easy with the hamstrings, no pulling in the back of the knee or in the middle of the bottom. Lovely. And then slowly let's lift the hips. Right foot to floor, bring the left hand down to the floor, right hand to right knee, and take a little twist, turning the chest towards that right knee. Option to tuck the toes, lift the back knee, and reach that right arm up towards the ceiling, getting a nice stretch out. Lovely. And then bring the hand down to the inside of the foot, lower the back knee. We'll come back onto all fours, widening knees, big toes touch. And again, take that nice hare pose. Lowering your chest, reaching out nice and long with the arms. I'm going to try all of that with the left leg. So as you walk your hands back towards your knees, just point both knees forwards. And again, we'll come up into that standing kneeling, reaching the arms up, but this time we'll come to a twist. So inhale, reach up. As you exhale, reach the right arm forwards, left arm back. Take a little twist to the left, hips stay square. Inhale through center. And then exhale, we'll change direction. So that nice movement through the waist. So feel that the hips stay facing forwards. So it might not be a big move. So we do one more each way. Inhale, so we reach up, find that space through the waist, and exhale, take that little twist. And then inhale, reach up. Exhale, hands can come to the hips or to the floor, wherever you feel most stable. So you can step or help the left foot forwards this time. Hands just above the knee. So heel stays planted as you begin to shift the weight forwards, dropping into the front of that right hip. And then we shift the hips back. Again, you might keep a bend in the knee. You might begin to deepen the stretch, lifting the toes and bringing the fingertips down. So inhale, we drop the weight forwards. And as you exhale, we rock back. So again, let's keep the hips just lifted for a moment. And then if you wish, on your next exhale, you can come into that pistol stretch. So you sit all the way back onto right heel. And then make sure you've got enough energy or momentum to come forwards. And then back. So if this doesn't work for you, remember, keep the hips slightly lifted. One more inhale. This time as you exhale, we'll pause in that stretch. So you might be here, hands above the knee. You might have fingertips to floor, hips lifted. You might have sat back onto that right heel, pulling your left toes up towards the face. We'll take an inhale, lift the chest. And as you exhale, we take that little fold forwards. It really doesn't matter what position the leg is in, but just get that nice stretch of the hamstring that's safe and effective for you this evening. Lovely. Or you might find one side feels a lot stiffer than the other. So when you're ready, let's lift ourselves back up into that lunge. Right hand to floor, left hand on the knee, turning the chest towards the left. Option to tuck the toes, lift the back knee, keep the hips low, and reach the left arm up. And just make sure that that left hip is drawing back and down. You've not stuck it out to the side. Beautiful. This time we'll bring the hands down to frame the foot and step back into a downward dog. So even though we've stretched out the hamstrings, it's still our first weight bearing. So take a moment there just to really have a little pedal out through the feet, planting the hands, making sure the fingers are nice and spread. You might want to give the head a little shake and the upper arms are just alongside the body there. So you've got that lovely inverted V shape through the body. And then as you come to stillness, let's walk the feet a little wider apart on the mat. Coming up onto your tip toes, take an inhale. And as you exhale, drop the heels over to the left, keeping the weight relatively even through the hands. Lovely. Inhale through center. And exhale, that little pivot over to the right. Let's do one more each way. So you lift your hips high as you inhale and then drop the heels as you exhale. Lovely. One more inhale. And then exhale. Beautiful. And then coming all the way back through center. Look forwards as you walk your feet to the top of your mat. Coming into a nice forward fold. So plant the feet about hip width apart. Soften the knees. Maybe cradle the elbows. Maybe have a little rock. We'll sway side to side, let the head hang so the neck feels nice and warm. Beautiful. And then letting go of the elbows, keep a softness in the knees as you roll your way up to stand. Take your time so you don't get that horrible head rush at the top. Beautiful. So I'll just turn around to face you now. You can stay exactly as you are, just facing the top of your mat. So let's step your right foot behind your left. So you need to bend that front knee and step your right foot behind your left. You might be on the ball of the foot, you might be able to bring the foot to the floor, reaching the arms up. And taking hold of that right wrist, take an inhale, reach up. And exhale, we'll take that little bend over towards the left. So you're bowing your hips out to the sides, lovely. Inhale through center. And as you exhale, let's step the feet apart as you lower the arms. And then the other side. So left foot steps behind right foot. It's like you're doing a little curtsy. Soften the front knee, reaching the arms up, catching hold of left wrist this time. Inhale as you reach up and exhale all the way over. Beautiful. And then coming back through center, step the feet apart, release the wrist and lower the arms. Lovely. So we're going to add on to that one. So knowing that you can stay there, or we're going to add on a little balance. So once more, bring the right foot and tuck it behind the left. If it's too much for balance, you can always keep your feet apart and just get that nice stretch. So soften the front knee, arms reach all the way up, clasping right wrist. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, over to the left. So try and avoid that shoulder dropping or that right hip rolling forward. So just draw that right hip back. Beautiful. Come all the way back to center. Take the arms out level with the shoulders and see if you can catch underneath that right knee. So you're bringing the right knee out to the right, lifting up through the chest. Beautiful. So you might want to stay there, or you might be able to straighten that right leg. Some of you might want to take hold around the ball of the foot or catch the big toe and extend the leg out to the side, lifting the chest. So all of those variations, just a bit of fun. Don't worry if you wobble. Slowly, slowly bend the knee and bring the foot to the floor. Brilliant balance, guys. Have a little walk out through the feet. And then we'll try that on the other side. So you can always keep the feet apart and just stay firmly grounded if it's too much, or left foot steps behind right this time. So there's a little softness in my front knee. Reaching the arms up, catching hold of left wrist this time. Reach up as you inhale and over on an exhale. So we get that little bowing of the hips. Again, just make sure that that left hip is rolling forwards. Draw the hip back. Beautiful. Ready for that little balance? You bring the arms out. So we're going to catch underneath the left knee. So you take the left knee out to the left. You can flex the foot, point your toes, whatever works for you. Just lift up nice and tall through the chest. And we've got the option to straighten the left leg. Whoop. And some of you might even be able to take hold around the ball of the foot or catch the big toe. And again, lift up nice and tall through the chest. Don't worry if you don't get there, it doesn't matter. Brilliant balance, guys. Slowly, slowly release. And then bring the foot down, give the legs a little shake. So just make sure now that when you step, we're going to step back with our right leg. Just make sure when you step the right leg back, when you turn, you're facing me and facing the long edge of the mat so that you've not got your back to the camera, keeping yourself nice and safe. So you might have to come to the other end of your mat. I'm not quite figured out on Zoom how to do all of that. Mirroring and keeping everyone safe without having us move a little bit. That's it, beautiful. So let's come into that mountain pose, feet hip width apart this time, inhaling, reaching up nice and tall, lengthen all four sides of the waist. And as you exhale, take a nice forward fold over the legs. Inhaling, let's lift up halfway. And as you exhale, let's step the right leg back, turning the toes out, heel in, ready for a warrior two. So as you windmill the arms up, let's take a moment there to widen the arms and just check that when you bend that front knee, the knees above the ankle, not rolling in or out. So you're pushing into the outside edge of both feet there. Lovely, nice broad chest. And then lowering your left forearm down to your thigh. Let's reach the right arm all the way overhead into a nice side angle there. Lovely. Beautiful. You're going to drop that right shoulder and pivoting on the feet, come all the way into a wide leg forward fold, all 10 toes face the long edge of the mat, folding the body forwards. And then turning the right foot out this time. Right forearm to thigh, this time it's the left arm. You circle all the way up into that side angle. So you're getting that lovely stretch from fingertip down to the outside of the foot. Take an inhale. And as you exhale, we come into that forward fold, facing the long edge of the mat, fingertips to floor. Inhaling, turning the left foot out, left forearm to thigh, right arm all the way up and over. Lovely. So exhale, we come forwards and down, turning all 10 toes forwards. Lovely. And then as you inhale, right forearm to thigh, that side angle. That's it, we got it. Turning forwards as you exhale. We'll do one more each way. So as we inhale, we come into that side angle over the left foot. Beautiful. Exhale through center. And then over to that right foot. Beautiful. And this time as you come forwards, we'll pause there. And keeping the weight in your heels, walk your arms out in front of you, almost like you're doing a downward dog, but we're not weight bearing on the arms. So you're drawing the hips back, creeping the fingertips forward, so you're getting that nice sense of elongation through both sides of the waist. Nice stretch into the hamstrings. Beautiful. And then walking the hands back towards you, Then turn over that left foot. So you're turning all 10 toes to face the front of your mat. Bringing your hands to frame that front foot. And as you inhale, step off the back foot, coming into a forward fold at the top of the mat. Lovely. Inhale, let's rise all the way up into that mountain. And as you exhale, let's bring the hands down to the heart. Lovely. Last little balance again, just getting into the hips. Again, I'll turn around to face you. So let's bring our right foot into a tree pose. So your left leg is your supporting leg. It's turning that right hip out. So you might want to just rest the heel on the top of the foot or bringing the sole of the foot a little higher. If you bring that right foot above your knee, make sure you're not pushing the hips out to the left. So really firm up through that supporting leg and bring your hands to your heart. Lifting breastbone to meet thumbs. Beautiful. So very slowly, as you inhale, let's take the arms all the way up through center. And as you exhale, draw a slow circle all the way back down to your heart. Beautiful. Knowing that you can pause there this evening, just lifting up and out of that supporting leg. Or bring your right ankle above your left knee. So you're pushing that right knee out to the side. And as though you're coming into a chair pose, we'll bend the left knee, sending the hips back. Keep that right knee nice and open, lovely. And then extend the arms just forwards, chest height, or you might even extend them up so your upper arms frame your ears. Spread out through the fingers. You might be able to drop a little deeper, flex that right foot. And then straightening your left leg, bring the right knee to the chest. And now take that leg forwards. Sole of the foot towards me. Beautiful. And then knee to chest. And then foot to floor, hands to heart. Lovely. And give the legs a little shake. Brilliant. Let's try that on the other side. Oh, I can feel that. So this time your right leg is your supporting leg. So really firm up through that right leg as you pivot on your foot. Maybe bring sole of foot below or pick it up and bring it above the knee. Again, just making sure you're not pushing the hips out to the right. Got to really firm up through that leg. Lovely. It's hard on a carpet, isn't it? And then that little movement through the arms once you've found your balance. So inhale, arms ascend all the way up. And exhale, we draw a big circle all the way back down to the heart. If you're feeling a bit wibbly wobbly, you can stay there, just focusing on a point in front of you. Or you bring left ankle above right knee. So you're pushing that left knee out to the side this time. And then so you're coming down into chair pose, you bend the right knee, sit the hips back. Beautiful. And then extend the arms just out in front of you. And then if you want, you bring the arms alongside the ears, spreading the fingers. As you straighten that supporting leg, bring left knee to chest. And then straighten out through the leg, so it might be lower than hip height. Keep the spine nice and tall. And then knee to chest. And then plant the foot, lower the hands, well done. Give the legs a little shake. Coming back down into that forward fold. So when you're ready, lifting all the way up as you inhale. And then chest leads the way, folding forwards and down. Lifting up halfway as you inhale. And as you exhale, let's step back into that downward facing dog. And from downward dog, drop down onto all fours, keeping both knees facing forwards this time. We'll come into a child pose with the arms threaded back alongside the legs. Palms up towards the ceiling, fingertips lengthening back beyond your toes. So just allow the shoulders to roll forwards there. Very nice release across your upper back. Lovely. Now keep your hands where they are, but we'll just lift the chest up so you're sitting on your heels. And then flip your hands so your palms come down towards the floor, fingertips are pointing forwards. Roll the shoulders back, push into your hands, just lift the chest, you can lift your chin. Lovely, and then if you wish, you can lift your hips. So you're feeling a stretch across the front of your hips there. Chin stays tucked in, or you can just Let the head drop a little way. And then lower the hips. Drop your bottom to one side. And stretch the legs out in front of you, giving them a little shake. And then heels, walk close in towards your bottom. Let's lower yourself down onto your back. Lovely, reaching your arms down alongside you. Let's come into that little bridge, so keep the hands down alongside you. Push the hips up towards the ceiling. Again, just making sure that you're not on your neck. You can stay there, or you can tuck one shoulder and then the other underneath you. Interlace the hands. And keeping the knees facing forwards, maybe push the hands down and lift the hips up a little higher. So again, a little bit of engagement through the glutes. Beautiful. Breath is a little congested there, isn't it, with your chest coming up towards your chin. So when you've had enough, bring your hands down alongside you. Maybe lift up onto the balls of your feet and lower your hips down, keeping your heels lifted. Beautiful. And then let the heels drop. And we'll bring the arms out, shoulder height, palms up towards the ceiling. Take a nice inhale. And as you exhale, let's tip the knees over to the right. Option 2, turn your head away from your knees. So you're just allowing the chin to drop to left shoulder. You can stay there just with the feet hip width, or picking up your right foot. Just place the right ankle once more on the thigh, the left thigh, and try and allow that right knee to relax so it's not pointing up towards the ceiling. That doesn't feel any good for you if that's not right for your back or for your knee, then just keep both feet on the floor. So we're getting a little twist and a little stretch in the hip. Let's bring the head back to center. You can keep the foot resting above the knee and come all the way back to center, or feel free to uncross. Lovely. And then bringing both feet down to the floor, just making sure that your hips are in the middle of the mat. Take an inhale. And exhale, we'll tip the knees to the left this time. Just let them drop, let them drop. And picking up your head, you just turn away from the knees. So chin dropping down towards the right shoulder this time. Just allow the legs to relax there. Nice openness across the chest. And again, if you wish, this time it's left foot, you rest on top of right thigh. And again, you try and relax that left knee so it's pointing down towards the floor rather than up towards the ceiling. So you're just feeling a little stretch, maybe across the hip, as well as a little bit of rotation through the spine. And then bringing the head back to center. Feel free to uncross or keep the feet as they are as you come all the way back through center. Release that left foot to the floor and then straighten out both legs and bring both arms back behind you into that full body stretch where we started from. So take an inhale as you reach through the fingertips and through the toes. And as you exhale once more, you soften into that stretch. So inhaling, reaching out through the toes and the fingertips. And then exhale to soften. So last time, finding that length through the whole body as you inhale. This time as you exhale, allow your toes to roll out to the side and you bring the arms all the way down alongside you. Palms up towards the ceiling, a little bit of space underneath your armpits there. And if that doesn't feel comfortable for your back, come into that effortless rest, feet on the floor, feet towards the outside edges of your mat so your inner knees can prop each other up. And just take a moment to get comfortable in whatever position you've chosen. So if you're in a cooler room and you want a blanket over you or a jumper, feel free just to get that. Allow the eyes to close. Just as we do at the beginning of a practice, to really kind of bring ourselves into that space to start our practice, letting go of the day. So we take some time at the end of a practice to let the body and the mind rest and digest upon the movement we've just had. So we begin to draw that awareness back to that flow of your breath. Noticing where you're receiving and releasing the breath. Which parts of the body are moving, being moved by the breath. And once more, just bring your awareness to the weight of the body being supported on the floor there. Finding that sense of balance in the back body, the very middle of the back of your head, resting on the floor. An evenness of weight between your shoulder blades and across your lower back. And if your feet are on the floor, between your left and your right foot. And so with each exhale, just feel the weight of the whole body just surrendering to the support of the floor beneath you. Just letting go of any tension, any holding. Just feeling grounded. All those points of contact you have with the floor. It's beginning to feel a little heavier with each exhale. Just taking a moment to rest in stillness and quietness, quietening the mind, quietening the breath. And over the next few breaths, just start to deepen your inhale. Combining that with a little bit of movement through your fingers, your toes, maybe a little release through the neck, allowing the head to roll from side to side very gently. And you might want to slowly unfurl into that full body stretch, if that feels nice. Just keep it nice and gentle now. And then taking your time to gather your knees in towards your chest one last time. You might want to move from side to side. You might just want to linger in stillness, or bring your nose towards your knees, rounding the whole spine up, getting that nice sense of rounding, not just through the lower back, but through your upper back. And then bringing your head down and just rolling calmly and quietly onto one side, left or right, wherever there's space. And then finding your way back to a comfortable seated position when you're ready. Take your time, there's no rush. And take a moment maybe just to gently move from side to side so you can really ground through both sit bones, finding that sense of balance across your seat. As you bring your hands to your heart, lift the breastbone to meet your thumbs. So you really feel your heart lift as you drop your shoulders. Maybe closing the eyes as you drop the chin ever so slightly down towards your chest. So as we head towards the latter part of the week, wherever we're going, let's make sure that we travel forwards, always with hope. Namaste. Thank you. Thank you for your practice. Let's turn that off there.